back on another exciting episode. Oh, I have to adjust my camera angle. There we go. We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Oh, wow. How did that
Oh, wow.
happen? You're amazing.
I am?
Yeah, like I was like, oh, Father forgot or something happened, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're there.
Yeah, I try to like come in dramatically, like a certain ship and a certain captain in a certain finale of a certain animated show in a certain franchise.
You did pull it right.
Okay.
He's Riker. He just came in on the Starship Titan. Robbie has not seen the whole episode. He's missing about 5 minutes, so we have to do a really good job on the episode summary.
Oh, okay.
I can't be mad at Robbie because the reason Robbie already put you on the spot, so I'm going to finish telling the story. He lost track of time because he was watching Deep Space Nine. How can you be mad at that?
No, yeah, it's okay. It's okay if you don't make time for the second best Star Trek show, the original series, because you're so busy watching the actual best show, Deep Space Nine. No, if you would have said like Voyager or like something other than DNI, I'd be like, what? No, we're good. We're good, Robbie. We're good.
Oh, hold on. Starfleet Boy, you sound both nasal and like talking from a barrel. Do I sound distant, guys?
A wee bit, yeah.
Oh wow, what happened?
Yeah, you're on shit audio.
All right, hold on. Make it show for a second, guys. Thanks for that shout out because I hate having shit audio. So
yeah, we're gonna fix this for all y'all. But yeah, we're talking about if you're going by air date order, I guess this is like the 9th episode, I believe. We're 10th by Netflix reckoning because they include The Cage as episode 1. But so we're like a third of the way. We're like a third of the way through season 1. It is a long season. It's if you count The Cage, it's 30 episodes. It's like the longest single season in Star Trek history. But we'll get through it eventually. That's in 20 more weeks we'll be done with season 1. It's kind of weird that they used to have like these much longer seasons compared to 15, 14, or even only 10 nowadays with the modern Star Trek shows.
How do I sound now?
Excellent.
You sound good.
Really? Oh, good. Okay. So, thank you so much, Alexandra. Yeah, it is a long season. It's crazy. We watched last night on Starfleet Boy After Dark. We did a watch along for Return of the Archons because of Lower Decks, and I didn't realize it's crazy to think that's like more than 10 episodes away from where we are now. Like we're so used to now these truncated, like these short, 10 to 15 episode seasons. I guess it's crazy.
Yeah, but that's just how TV used to be. The majority of Star Trek is within a 26 episode season. So
it's true. Hi, Robbie. I'm the same as Robbie, missing the last 10. Ooh, so we'll do a really good job on the summary.
Oh, the last 10 minutes is where all the big stuff happens, though. It's like the whole episode is a build up to the last 10 minutes in a lot of ways.
How far exactly did you get, Robbie? That means you have to do the summary until you can't remember anymore, and then we'll take over for you. Is that okay with you?
No.
Okay. That means that tells me everything I need to know. You haven't seen this episode at all, have you, Robbie?
I have seen the episode.
No. I'm teasing.
Okay.
I'm teasing. Well, let's not put you on the spot.
I'll do the summary.
Okay.
Because I'm tired of dicking around. Like, we got to get serious now. Time to be serious. Game face. Let's do it.
Do it.
So, this episode begins with Captain Kirk visiting an old friend on a planet. They're watching a play together, and it turns out he and his friend, they're both survivors from the massacre of Kodos the Executioner. They lived on a planetary colony that had its food supply destroyed by some type of fungus or something like that. Paul Stamets should have been investigating that, I guess. But anyways, they were governed by this butcher who slaughtered the majority of the people in the colony in order for who he deemed the strongest to survive during this dark time. He leaned into like some twisted views on eugenics and the superior specimens, and he's like, okay, we have enough food for them. Everyone else must be killed. I'm doing this so that the strongest will survive. And he is remembered as a monster. It definitely parallels in the 1960s. My dad even told me about like when he was growing up as a kid in the 60s, people still thought that like Hitler was alive. It was a very popular rumor. And people would be like, oh, yeah, you know, they say like he's alive in South America somewhere, stuff like that. So this is basically like, what if we found out that like Hitler was alive? But it's like Kodos the Executioner. And the kicker is that there's only 9 people who have seen his face, who heard his voice, who could recognize him, who could identify him.
And now all of you, audience, have seen his face and can identify him too. Anyways, go on.
Well, I guess it was more like the voice than the face then.
Right.
So this guy, the scientist that Kirk is hanging out with, ends up being killed. And he thinks that this actor that's part of this play might have been Kodos the Executioner. And so he's taking this troupe of actors to their next location in order to see if he can confirm or deny that this guy is Kodos or not. And an other survivor, Kevin Riley, remember him from the Naked Time?
I know.
He's on board the ship, and he was there too. And then there's like an attempt on his life. There's an attempt on Kirk's life. Surely this guy is Kodos, but no, it was his daughter that Kirk was falling in love with. She was the one trying to kill all these people to like save her daddy and keep him from having to pay up for the crimes of his past. And when she tries to shoot Captain Kirk with a phaser, Kodos, who's tired of like all this death and all of this horrible backstory in his past and doesn't want to see it corrupt like the one good thing he had in his life as his daughter, he tries to stop her from murdering someone else, and he steps in the way, and the phaser beam shoots him. He dies, and it turns out, yeah, she's like batshit insane, crazy, cuckoo, and so Kirk is kind of heartbroken, and that's the end, and we never see Riley again. So I think
this was his last episode. That was it.
Yeah. So bye, Riley.
Oh, wow. Bye, Riley. That's our new thing. Instead of bye, Felicia on this show, we're gonna say bye, Riley, every time we don't see someone again. So the next is gonna be Yeoman Rand. We'll have to say bye, Riley. Whoa! Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
We live next to an Air Force base, and sometimes these gigantic airplanes fly over our home. It's really cool and scary at the same time. What did you all think of the episode?
I think it got better as it went on.
Like it started out, you were kind of like, and then it got more interesting.
Yeah.
Until the last 10 minutes, in which case then you had to come on the show and you couldn't finish watching it. I feel so bad. Are you going to finish watching it
No,
after?
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, good. Father, what do you think?
This episode's kind of a mixed bag. I really like a lot of it, but some of it, I don't tend to like roll my eyes at TOS a lot. There is some stuff in here that I do kind of question. Let me turn this light on. But the kind of the fun and also kind of the annoyance of it is like all like the Shakespearean dialogue. I have kind of like a whiplash experience with that because it's like, oh yeah, like that's really cool and poetic and like appropriate. Like good job using that quote from Macbeth or whatever right here. But then other times like it gets like a little annoying when they keep doing it.
Well, but this is the first time it ever happened, right? Like technically this is where that trope was born as well.
They
do
do it too much in the episode at times, it feels like.
It is. I think it definitely felt like it was a love letter to both theater and Shakespeare, on top of being, the story that you brilliantly told, by the way, in the summary. Chris says, I wish the backstory to Kirk and McCoy was the episode rather than the episode we got. What we got was more dull than the backstory to Kirk and McCoy. What was the backstory to Kirk and McCoy? Because I totally missed that. By the way, Gates McFadden would be very pleased that you're eating on the show, and so am I.
Oh, well, I love to please.
She like pointed that. She pointed it out. She did like a I requested a cameo from Gates. Hi, Gates McFadden. You might be watching this. I requested a cameo from Gates McFadden, and not only did she do the cameo, but she watched a couple of episodes of our show, and she even said she was even.
Yeah, Sean was eating a sandwich.
No, it was that was the doctor.
Oh, the doctor
was on, and I think I was the one eating the sandwich. She said one of them.
I can't believe.
What's that?
I can't believe Gates McFadden watched it.
Yes. Maybe William Shatner watches these episodes, in which case that I hope he doesn't mind that.
Hi, Bill.
That father has a little beef, right? No, you said you love him, but you have.
I mean, I don't love him as a person. I like him. I like him as an actor.
Yes, he's great in this, by the way. Hello, R. Alf. Sometimes the acting is a little dated, but so is any show from the 60s. It is dramatic, very dramatic acting.
Things were stagier back then.
It's true.
You painted with a broader brush. You went bigger. Audiences weren't as savvy as they are today. People hadn't watched countless hours of movies and TV shows like they have today. Like a lot of like the writing, it's like kind of feels like tropier, but it's like, oh, well, like these tropes hadn't like become such commonplace. So, people weren't as used to some of the stuff that might be like a little bit more predictable or like going through the motions these days. And it was important for actors and directors to be able to convey emotion larger than real life in order to like get it across to the audience. Today, audiences are a bit more conditioned and we watch things differently. And now the actors and directors, they try to create a more like real life immersive type of experience. So it's just a very different style.
I didn't remember the plot twist at the end, so I was actually like pretty into it, and I was, I was taken with it until they revealed it again. And I have to say that I really liked the kind of world building that we got too, because it does kind of gel. Like, I want to know if Kodos was on a colony that was during the Discovery era, during the war, because atrocities could have happened.
It would have been before that.
Oh, it would have been before that. Yeah, you're right. 20 years.
Kirk,
that's right.
Kirk is like the same age as Tilly. He would have been like fresh out of the academy when.
Oh, really?
When Discovery is taking place. Yeah, the first 2 seasons. Yeah.
So then that means 20 years ago, when the massacre happened, how old would have Kirk been at that time?
Like 15 or younger.
So he, and then Riley must have been like really young then, probably still like maybe 10 or even.
Yeah. Riley would have been like a little kindergarten kid, I would think.
A little kindergarten kid. Wow, that's crazy. So imagine that. Has that story, as far as you know, I'm sure there's a comic.
It's been told in like one of the recent novels with. It actually has Commander Philippa Giorgio and Commander. Gabriel Lorca, but it's the Prime Universe Lorca, not the Mirror Universe Lorca.
Right, of course.
They go after Kodos the Executioner. It just came out a couple years ago.
No way. That's a great tie-in. Why didn't they do that?
I can't remember if it's called like Desperate Measures or Drastic Actions, because like those are like such similar titles, but it's one or the other.
Oh, very cool. Oh, I have to check that out. Shout out to Trekkie Rob and the Trek book club. I wonder if they covered that one. I'm sure that they did. Do you know Trekkie Rob and the Trek book club? Do you guys both? I know, Father, you know him, right?
Yeah, the other Star Trek Rob in the UK.
Who's the first one?
Robbie.
Oh, Robbie's not Rob. Robbie's just Robbie.
Well, close enough.
Is Robbie short for anything, or is that your name?
That's my name.
Oh, that's cool. And do you go by Rob?
No. Just Robbie.
Then there's still Trekkie Rob is still the only Rob.
Only Robbie. What's the other or I guess I shouldn't say the other Rob, but Rob is it short for Robert, I wonder, with his case?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. We'll have to ask him. We haven't had Trekkie Rob on the show in a long, long time. We should get him on an episode. I wonder if he'll be free on a Saturday. It'd be cool. The actor who plays Caridian / Kodos is Arnold Moss, and I lost his IMDb page, but I'll bring it back up again. He's really been in a lot of stuff. Moss, okay, and he has a very distinct look to him. I really enjoyed not just his performance, but also like just his physical presence. To me was very cool. He's got like a very imposing, but yet, I don't know, like an imposing kind of presence, if you will, commanding presence, I guess. But he was on Star Trek: The Original Series, and then after that, he was on a show called The Time Tunnel, which is really famous. And he plays in one episode of that, and then he doesn't really do anything where he's a regular character until a show in 1979 called The Edge of Night. And I'm curious about that. I've never heard of that show, so I didn't know his he looks so familiar, but I guess I only know him from this, really, when I look back at his work. Do you guys know this actor?
No.
No, but I think it kind of works better, like not being really familiar with him, because he just comes off as kind of like generic British Shakespearean thespian type, and I think he might have actually been like an American actor, but he's playing it in like that type of, he's more West End than Broadway type actor. He
was born, in fact, in New York in 1910, and he lived in New York all his life. So maybe that he did a good job, because I was convinced he was British, but then I don't know. What did you think, Robbie? Was his accent genuine?
I'm not sure. I didn't really notice that he was American.
Cool. Did a good job. And then Barbara Anderson plays his daughter. Is it Barbara Anderson? Yes. Lenore.
Yeah, that sounds right. She's
still around.
Oh, good for her. How old was she when she did this then? She was, I guess, like 20, 21, 22?
You're better at math than I am, but yeah, I would say so.
But I know the character was supposed to be 19 years old, which, like, Kirk hands her a drink, so it made me think, what's the drinking age in the Federation? Because, here in the United States, it's 21, but in most countries, it's like 18 or 19. So, but it made me think, what would it be in the Federation?
I think in France, having a glass of wine at dinner time is acceptable from the time you're maybe 15 or something like that. It's a custom less than a law, more of a custom than a law, I guess. What's the drinking age in Scotland, Robbie?
You can drink from 16, but you can't
really
buy it. That's
so you're allowed to have a pint at your age.
Yeah. Oh. I don't though.
No, I know, we know. But that's fantastic that you can. And then what is the legal age where you can fight for your country?
I don't know.
I think it's probably 18. Here in the United States, we allow you to go off to war, but we don't allow you to drink till you're 21. We allow you to go off to war at 18, but not drink until you're 21. So I like the other way around. I think they should just make it the same age, 18 and 18.
That's not going to happen. They just moved tobacco up to 21. They're not going to move alcohol down to 18.
Good grief. I think it's better. I didn't start drinking till I was 24, and I'm glad of it. Although I should probably
I'm actually
address that at some point.
I'm like a big advocate of like if you're old enough to like vote and old enough to be like tried as an adult if you commit a crime, and like old enough to like be in the military, then you should be allowed to like do all this other stuff. I'm a big advocate for that, but really and truly, like, you look at like the medical side of it, like you can like damage your brain if you're drinking before you're 25. Like your brain is still in development until you're like 24, 25, 26 years old.
Sure.
So young people drinking can do brain damage. Like it makes me wonder, like, oh, I wonder what I'd be like if I didn't damage my brain like in high school. But That ship is that starship has gone to warp.
That starship has gone to warp, and so is the subject of this episode. We totally derailed. It became like a question of drinking, although it is relevant because Dr. McCoy is drinking and Spock is
Dr.
not.
McCoy is drinking in sick bay.
Like, sick bay on duty. It's true. So we can.
That's the doctor I want to go to.
He prescribed himself a drink.
Sorry, and brandy. I like that. But I like that scene with Spock. That was cool Spock McCoy stuff. Spock is like really concerned. He's like, "What is the captain doing? There's something weird going on here," and he's trying to get McCoy to like show some concern and take some interest into what's going on. And McCoy's just like, don't worry about it. Spock, he's transferring people. It is whatever. You see that actor there? She's an exciting creature. That one, have a drink with me, boy.
That's really accurate. But he kind of does it with a little bit more. He's actually, he doesn't sound drunk when he's doing it, but that's. But he does take a sip rather liberally. Like, he's very quick with that. I mean, it is only a little tiny vessel that he's drinking out of. It's like a sake glass size.
I wonder what DeForest Kelly was actually drinking. Was it just like apple juice or something?
It's got to be just apple juice, or if it looks like whiskey, it's probably apple juice, and if it looks like
or tea,
if it looks like Tranya, it's orange juice.
Yeah.
And vodka, of course, you could just have it be water.
Not only does Kirk give alcohol to a 19-year-old, but I'm pretty sure that like they hook up that night that he's like giving her the tour when he's showing her like the observation deck and the shuttle bay, and they start making out and it cuts away. So I don't know if they like did it like right then and there on the floor of the observation bay, or if he was like a classy enough act that like he was like, oh no, we should like sneak back into my quarters, or what happened.
I don't remember there being anything implied that they were engaged in full coitus. But I don't know. I might have missed it. Like,
I mean, like it's open to interpretation. It's open to interpretation, but I mean, they start making out and the camera cuts away. You don't see what happens next.
I think they would have gone back to Kirk's quarters. Also, fathering. Like, I think the legal age of consent in most places is like around 17 or 18. So she would have been, at least by Federation standards, it would have been okay for Captain Kirk to sleep with her. By moral standards, maybe it's not, but definitely by legal standards, I think it's okay.
Hashtag Kirk did nothing wrong.
No, it's not that he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything illegal. That's the hashtag. It's different. Sometimes things that are illegal are not necessarily always catching things that are wrong. So that's all I gotta say. I don't think he was in the wrong at all. Knowing Kirk and other future people like Riker, everyone seems to like just kind of be very casual and informal in the Star Trek world about like sensual things and things like that. So I think their morality is something that we don't understand fully and never will. We're not meant to. I think actually it's good though that the show questions it. Oh my goodness, we have some interesting comments. Someone supports you and says Kirk is a floor guy, Fathery. So there you go. You have your answer on there. Yay! Hello. How are you, German Trekkie? Shout out. Hey, are you free to come on? It'd be cool to get you on for the first time. And I know we have a chat somewhere that's pending. I just remembered that. Thank you, and I'm sorry. I think the drinking age in most states used to be 16 or 18. Is that right? That's interesting. You really like got me thinking about the whole morality of Star Trek. We should do a whole podcast on the morality of Star Trek. That's a very interesting topic.
The reason why I bring any of this up is because Kirk, by his own admission, he kind of starts off the flirtation with her because he wants to get closer to her dad and figure out what's going on there. But he says he does like develop like automatic feelings. I think Captain Kirk is a little bit of a NRE, or what is it? Yeah, NRE junkie. Isn't it that like the new relationship energy?
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that.
No, well, like
I'm gonna have to look it all up now.
Yeah, look it up. But like he
Okay.
he like falls hard when he makes like these connections. I think he does like sincerely care about all of them, but he's high off of the new relationship energy. But
there's a song by Chet Atkins called "I Fall in Love Too Easily, I Fall in Love Too Fast." It's a really good song, and I think that kind of describes what you're talking about with Captain Kirk.
But at the same time, I think she kind of like legitimately is attracted to him, but also she's trying to manipulate him because she is on her, or I'm sorry, he is on her shit list. He's one of the 9 that she's gonna eliminate, and she has to like keep him distracted and keep him off his game and prevent him from figuring out what's going on. We don't know that she is the culprit. There are like, I guess you could, if you watch this again, like knowing that, you can see like little bits of clues, like when they're walking around outside when they leave the party together, and she's already killed the half-faced scientist guy, Layton, I think Dr. Layton.
Dr. Layton or Layton. I have to ask you, that was pretty cool. The Phantom of the Opera style half-face,
very theatrical. Yeah,
very theatrical. Yeah,
so appropriate for this episode. But she starts trying to like kiss on Kirk right before they stumble across the body. It's like, oh yeah, if we go around that corner, he's gonna see the dude I killed. So I need to like start like kissing on him now and make out with him and keep him from seeing that. And, you know, like little stuff like that.
it's true. I never thought about that. I was totally kind of tuned into Kirk's manipulation. By the way, this is not the first time that Kirk has used his attractiveness to manipulate his adversary.
He did it to the android. We saw him do it on the
android, but he also did it to poor Miri in a way. We all agreed when we had that conversation that like there was a bit of manipulation perhaps going on, and you know, we justified it with like lives were at stake, right? And I guess lives are always at stake for poor Captain Kirk, so he has to always uses his I think he's very aware of his attractiveness, and then he uses that attractiveness.
Yeah, he's weaponized it.
He's weaponized his attractiveness.
He has his go-to moves. You know, he's a big fan of the double fist punch. That's a go-to move.
But it's also the blinky eye.
Last night we were talking about how
the women.
He likes to paradox computers into oblivion.
I have to admit, that's true.
And he likes to seduce his way out of a bad situation. So those are like the 3 go-to techniques. He will beat your ass up. He will confound you with some a well thought out logical paradox, or he will seduce you.
Kirk is a formidable opponent for anyone because between those 3 things, he can fight you, he can outsmart you, and he can also just charm the heck out of you, right? Like that's a pretty crazy opponent. I have to admit, William Shatner is very attractive to me. I noticed his looks in the scene when they're at the cocktail party and he's smiling at Barbara Anderson's character, Lenore, and the way they shot it and filmed it, like I think they like really did him up really nicely. They combed his hair very nicely, like the lights just like very good, and there's a slight soft focus, and he looks very, I think any one of us would look better under those lighting conditions, but William Shatner looks very good in that scene. So I could see where that's a valid argument. And yeah, I guess Captain Kirk, William Shatner, if you got it, flaunt it. And then I don't want to repeat what Father or whoever it was on my stream said about adult William Shatner, but I mean not adult, old man William Shatner, and so we'll just move on from that and leave it. We'll leave it there.
Well, about how he used to be like this really handsome dude, and he aged in like this bloated, old, angry, grumpy toad frog.
I did that. That was my fault. I prompted you. I apologized. I didn't mean for that to happen.
That's a good description.
Yeah.
I've been banned.
Sorry, Bill.
No,
Sorry, Bill.
Please, genuinely, I'm sorry. I hope you're taking.
Bill Shatner just unsubscribed from Starfleet.
He definitely did. although our viewership went up all of a sudden. So I don't know what happened. The algorithm caught us laughing and sent everyone here. Hello, Shishan Girl again. Let's see. Oh, we got some more drinking stuff. We can take a moment to talk about this. So Alexander Sandu says that in Romania, there is no law that set a limit on drinking, just on buying, which is 18. So families make that decision. Interesting. And then culturally speaking, one has the opportunity to start drinking since childhood at family reunions. Since childhood, like you mean like 10-year-olds are drinking if they want to? But it's probably like a sip here or like a sip there if that's happening, right, Alexandra? It's very interesting. It's so crazy that you think that the cultural norms where you live are the cultural norms everywhere, and then you find out through conversations like this that is not true. Shishan Girl says, I grew up drinking little tiny sherry glasses of wine. Oh, that's true. You just prompted a memory that when I was ill, I would get a nip of whiskey put into tea or something, and it would actually soothe me. I remember my parents doing that kind of stuff. Very interesting. Kirk is space James Bond. Do you think that William Shatner could have ever pulled off James Bond? Well, he'd have to be.
I don't want Americans to play Bond.
No.
I don't think so.
Keep James Bond British. Is that,
you know what's funny
is
they did consider Adam West for Dr. No. They considered Batman, who was 1960s Batman. They almost went with him instead of Sean Connery.
Interesting.
I think William Shatner would be too dramatic.
I mean, definitely like he played it like the way he plays Kirk in the original series, but something that our friend PJ has pointed out to me recently, what I was talking about earlier about like with TV being stagier back then, that's kind of true with like TV today to a little or until you get to like the very recent age, but TV throughout like the 70s and 80s and 90s, whereas compared to movies, movies tend to be a lot more nuanced performances. And if you look at like how Kirk is played by Shatner in the movies, it is a little bit different. I think that would be a little closer to like how he would play someone like James Bond.
Yeah, I prefer Kirk in the films. He has really good performance in the films.
Yeah, and he's also like doing very different stuff. In the original series, it's kind of a lot of like the same things over and over and over again. Whereas in the movies, like things have more consequence. Like, oh, look, Spock is dead, or the Enterprise is blown up. They could do like these bigger things, and not have to like hit the reset button at the end of every episode.
I agree. I'm a fan of Kirk. I'm a fan of William Shatner's performance style. I actually like it a lot, and take it seriously despite it having humorous, because of parodies of it having humorous associations for sure. We've got, let's see here. More talk about the liquor. It's very fascinating. I'm actually very curious because I didn't know some of these things. So we'll have to do another side. We have so many side streams to do that we haven't done. Going back to Spock in this episode, I found it really endearing that even though Captain Kirk was telling him basically like just follow my orders, that he was suspicious and decided to do an independent investigation. And it was interesting, like there was some real danger, it felt like, especially with the overloaded phaser. But one thing that I really found funny is that the ship has a trash chute that just throws trash into outer space. Is that what that was?
Is that what it does, or does it put it in like a containment area that's like reinforced and can handle
Oh, maybe that's what it was, but I got the impression.
Or is it ejected into space? I've always questioned it. I know it's one or the other, but I've never been 100% sure on it. I know who to ask though.
Who do we ask?
We can ask Brian later when we.
Okay,
cool.
Later
today.
We'll ask Brian. That's a good question.
They still felt the shock of the explosion though. They went back against the wall. So I don't. It could have been out in space.
It could have been out in space, or it could have. I'm just curious though, because if it does eject into outer space, does that mean that every time they throw trash into this thing. They're just littering into
They're
outer
just
space.
polluting the galaxy.
Are they polluting? That's what I really wanted to know. I don't know why that caught my interest. I also thought it was interesting that like the red alert lights are actually just like little hinges that's and there's like a cavity and the light's actually behind that. Like, what was the point of that? Like, why not just make a light that's like customized to be a red alert light? You know, like it's like interesting.
Not only was it red alert, but it was double red alert.
Oh yeah, he says double red alert.
Yeah, I wanted Spock to be like, there ain't no such thing as double red alert. You just made that up.
I bet Captain Kirk makes up a lot of. I'm still recovering from my last night, so my speech patterns my actuators aren't working as properly as they should be. My synthetic body isn't working the way it should. What else was I going to say about that? Engineering at night. So I want to talk about the O'Reilly scene. First of all, I like the song that Uhura sings. That was cool.
The Antares song.
Yeah, the Antares song. But we get the spray bottle scene where like a hand comes out of nowhere with a spray bottle and spray bottles into the milk. Okay, lots of questions to unpack here. What is O'Reilly eating? Why does he drink milk as a grown-ass man at midnight or whatever in the shift that he has in engineering? Why is he in engineering all alone? Why does engineering even need to be manned at night? Or I don't know. There's so many questions.
Plato, good source of vitamin D and calcium.
Oh, true.
Everyone is watching the play because Kirk told him to go to engineering.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I don't know what else. What other questions?
Why did he switch him from communications to engineering though? It didn't make sense. Like, what was he trying to protect?
He wanted to like have him, I guess, isolated where if there was an attack on his life, they would be able to see it coming. But that's not how it plays out. It's like the attack on his life is pulled off correctly. It's just like he doesn't kill him because I guess like he gets to like medical attention before like the poison has killed him.
Right.
But
it's it's fortunate that he has a lot of fortunate moments. It's fortunate that he wanted to hear Uhura sing and that the comms were open, right? Because he was able to just start saying help, help, you know. So yeah, you're right. That actually turned out really well for him. Poor O'Reilly.
It's fun watching these first season episodes and see them actually like building the universe of Star Trek, and they're developing so much in each episode. You know, they didn't have Red Alert in those first few episodes. They're like General Quarters 4, General Quarters 6, or whatever. And now here, they have Red Alert, but like they're not saying Starfleet. They're saying Star Service Lieutenant.
Right.
They're talking about like space regulations instead of like Starfleet regulations. So they hadn't quite figured out that they were going to call it Starfleet yet. Little stuff like Kirk's backstory. What's he doing on this colony on another planet as a kid when later we find out that he grew up in Iowa? I mean, I guess like he was in Iowa and then moved somewhere for a little bit and then moved back.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. There is a lot of development that you see unfold. Let's see what else. The starship that was supposed. Do you know this little? I don't know what to call this. Like maybe it's a quantum entanglement. We'll call it. But the starship that was supposed to pick up the acting troupe was called
Astro Queen.
Astro Queen, and the Astro Queen is also in BSG.
It is
the reimagined BSG
as a prison ship.
Yep.
And the Astro Queen is the worst possible name for a prison ship. Like, oh, we got fresh meat coming into the cell block. About to make you my Astro Queen.
I was hoping you would go there. Yes, it is the worst. It is appropriately worse, but clearly an homage to the Astral Queen in Star Trek, right? Because
Ron Moore loved the original series, and you see a lot of it. You see a lot of it in his Star Trek work, especially in Deep Space Nine, and then you see it in his Galactica as well.
Yeah, I thought that was. I caught it immediately. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I never remembered the name of the ship until after BSG, because you definitely remember the events on the Astro Queen on BSG. So that was cool. Have you seen BSG, Robbie?
No.
Great series. You got to check that out at some point if you ever have time. It's like pilot onto the list. Let's see. Oh, Jeremy had to go. Bye, Jeremy. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Where were we? I think that's what else did I want to talk about this episode? Well, we covered the Shakespeare stuff, which we get a lot more of, especially in Star Trek 2.
Yeah, I guess this is the first inclusion of Shakespeare into Star Trek. They're definitely going to get a lot of mileage out of it, especially like titling an episode a Shakespearean quote. The Conscience of the King, is that from
Hamlet?
Hamlet? Okay.
I think it's from Hamlet, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because the whole plot is the full line is the play is the thing in which she says as she's like sobbing over her father's body after at the end, but the play is the thing in which we'll catch the conscience of the king. Shout out to, if you guys have not seen it, the Kenneth Branagh film for Hamlet. It's long. It actually has an intermission and everything. Is I think one of the most definitive film versions you could watch of Hamlet. It's a beautifully done production. Highly recommend it if you're into Shakespeare. But we get Macbeth in this as well, and I've seen the opera, which was really awesome. There's an operatic version of Macbeth, which is pretty cool. What else do we have? Well, there's just a lot. I think they quote The Tempest in this movie, in this episode. It's a smorgasbord. It's like a melting pot.
We see the first few minutes of Hamlet, and I believe it's actually like the first few minutes of the play. It's like, he's talking to his ghost dad. There's something rotten. There's something rotten in the state of Denmark. Like that's
right. And he's got the mask. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like that they said like, oh, so here's a play about Hamlet, and they actually, instead of like just showing something famous from the play, like, pouring the poison in the king's ear, or like, mother, may I rest my head in your lap, or something like that. They just like actually start with the beginning of the play. I thought was that was a nice little attention to detail.
And it was juxtaposed nicely with the drama going on behind the stage, how it lined up with Riley saying those things, and it trickled into Kodos's performance. And he heard it, and it kind of like weighed on him, and that's what prompted him to kind of confront his daughter. It was just really beautifully written. I thought it was really nice.
I'm sure the writer was Barry Trivers. I'm sure he had a lot of fun, going through the Shakespeare stuff that he liked, and pulling out the quotes that he wanted to use, and when and where to use what quotes.
Thank you. R. Alf agrees. Yes, that is the best Hamlet. That's awesome. I love that Hamlet. It's really good. There's also the Mel Gibson Hamlet, which is interesting. And then there's another Hamlet. I forget who's in it, but I think also Sir Patrick Stewart is in a production of Hamlet that you can watch on.
Oh, didn't he did a BBC one with David Tennant, I think.
Right. That's the one.
Yeah.
That is the one. Yeah.
But
Branagh's Hamlet is just so epic. You gotta see it. It's pretty cool. We got a meh, I think, about the David Tennant, Sir Patrick Stewart Hamlet. Sir Patrick does a great job. He plays not Polonius. What's the name? Yeah, is that the name of the uncle?
I think he plays both. He plays. I don't know if Robbie, have you seen the BBC Hamlet?
I have it.
I think he plays the uncle and the dad both.
Did any of you guys do theater in school?
No, but I regret it.
I did one play, but I only had like one line. I played a drunk sailor in a Jack the Ripper play.
That's awesome. I took drama classes in. Shout out to Mrs. Davids, who was an amazing drama teacher. Whoa, I might not have been as amazing as she was a teacher as a student, but we'll have to ask her one day. But we did a Midsummer Night's Dream, and I got to play a side character that I can't remember. I can't remember what my character was. That's how insignificant it was. But it was fun being a part of an acting troupe, and the leads in the play were amazing. And I think they continued in performance throughout their lives. So that was a very cool experience. But it helped me do this. So I recommend participating in anything that forces you to put yourself on stage, as it will make it a little more comfortable to do things like podcasting and YouTube and all that stuff. But you don't need it, because obviously Robbie and Fathery do just fine. Hey, that's a good eyebrow raise.
Do better if I learned like to project and not be as mumbly as I am. But
Fathery, I'm so glad you're on this show. Robbie, next time watch the whole episode. No,
risk is our business.
Excellent. Chris says, so our Alf was in theater and did a lot of it, so that's pretty cool. I never realized that Red Alert was not there in the first few episodes. Yeah, it's so ingrained in your idea of Star Trek, but it's not.
Because Malcolm Reed might have invented it in the 2250s, but it took a little while for it to catch on. The Reed Alert.
Is that what it's really called in the episode? I haven't seen that. I know about this.
Like, he pitches it to the captain. He's like, I have an idea for, like, in case of emergency, we can like turn on all these alarms and everyone can like go to action stations, and we'll call it the Reed Alert.
It's true.
What's the name of the episode that happens in?
It's the one where they all get obsessed with it. It's a bottle episode that was you could tell like it's one that they did when they were like low on money, where they had like overspent the budget, because it's like just the crew on the ship with like no guest stars, and they don't leave the ship, but everyone like goes crazy, gets obsessed. Like Trip is like insane about making the captain's chair like the perfect captain's chair. And he's like customizing the chair.
I'm vaguely remembering this. I actually do remember seeing this maybe when it aired. What season is it?
1 or 2.
I kind of remember. I haven't seen it. I remember the Trip gags. I just didn't remember the Reed Alert. That's funny. That's also just ridiculous in general, because I would think that like starships would be based on naval vessels, and we definitely have action stations and things like that, and alarms that go off during battle, right? Like that's definitely a thing. I mean, at least on submarines you hear the ringing bell going off and stuff like that alerts people to go to their action station.
You have Black Alert.
Black Alert.
Wow. There's didn't they?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. It was a season 1 thing. I'd forgotten about it actually. Then I was rewatching season 1 as part of my #disco rewatch.
They don't go to Black Alert before jumping in season 2?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
Oh, weird. I liked Black Alert.
I mean,
I didn't understand.
They don't make a big deal about it though, like they did in season 1.
I don't understand why they would call it Black Alert though, but I did like that there was a separate alert for jumping.
Well, we see a Blue Alert in Next Generation.
We do?
Yeah.
I must have reacted the same way when I first. I think
it's in the episode Brothers when Data hijacks the Enterprise to go find his dad.
Is it just that we see it, or or does someone say Blue Alert?
No, they say it and we see it.
Oh wow! But we never get that again. It's like
it was like there's like a radiation leak or something on the bridge, and everyone had to evacuate. It's like Blue Alert, and then when they're all off, that's when Data does like his like typey fast thing to like hijack the ship. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happens. Yeah, like that.
And that's when he takes over Captain Picard's voice. 471657777. Like he's like saying all these things.
It's pretty good voiceover.
Thanks. Oh, you mean when in that episode? It's excellent, right? It
Yeah.
looks like he is actually saying it. Yeah. All right. So I guess we've run out of things to talk about for Conscience of the King. If there's anything else you have in your notes, Fathery, I think the only thing I covered everything I wanted to cover. I just wanted to say that, like, for me, although the performances were fantastic, I loved finding out about Kirk's past. I really liked meeting people from his past, like, and people called him Jim, his friends, like the Doctor, and stuff like that.
The Astro Queen captain.
The Astro Queen captain too, someone who owed him favors. Yeah, it was really cool.
Is the Astro Queen a Starfleet ship, or is that just like some little dinky transport?
On Memory Alpha, I didn't think they had a picture. Let me see. Astral Queen. No, they just have pictures of the one from not Memory Alpha, but
the Antares type.
Yeah, let's see. Nope. Nothing here. Nope, nothing there about pictures of the Astral Queen. It'd be cool if someone did some designs for it. By the way, what is the Astro Queen? It's Astral, A-L, Astral. It's the ship, Chris, that was supposed to pick up the actors and take them to what was it, Benica? What was the name of the planet?
They were gonna go to Planet Q. Oh, well,
no, they came from.
Yeah,
they came from Planet Q.
Benica instead, which was.
Oh, I just realized. I think it's funny that planets just have letters of the alphabet too. By the way, Planet Q.
Yeah, is that where Q is from? No, obviously it isn't, but it's funny now.
I wonder what Q's planet looks like.
Well, you see it in Voyager.
I don't think it's a planet; it's a realm.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but like his home world.
I think it's like Valhalla. I mean, not Valhalla. It's like Asgard. Like you need a Bifrost to get there.
With operated by Idris Alba,
who we talked about extensively last night on Starfleet After Dark. I'm Idris Alba. I'm a bit. Why did Ravi? Did you like Idris Alba in Star Trek Beyond?
Yeah, I think he was good in Beyond for the little that he had.
I know. I totally forgot that he was even. We were just talking about him. I was like, Idris Elba is such a good actor. He should be in Star Trek at some point. And I was like, oh yeah, he was, but it was so forgettable. It
is a tiny part. I didn't agree with that. I think they need to bring Idris Elba back to do a bigger, if they can, if he wants to. He may not. He might be done. He might be like, they put me in this awful makeup that was very uncomfortable, and I couldn't even sound like myself. Might have happened. Anyways,
yeah, what a waste. What a waste.
All right, so aside from all the Shakespeare stuff, which I am immediately attracted to just because I enjoy Shakespeare and plays and theater and all that stuff, this is not an episode I would go back to.
Dave on here. We should have invited my text truck buddy Dave, because he is like a huge Shakespeare nerd.
Oh, what a missed opportunity. Maybe we'll do a
Sorry, I didn't think of that sooner.
Well, Dave, if you have anything to say, we might do a special if you want to do a Shakespeare Star Trek special, I'd be down to arrange it. Maybe you should do it on Text Track. That might be fun. But if not, you could do it on Starfleet Boy. We give time for giving ratings. I give this episode 5 daggers out of 10.
I will give it 6 poisoned glasses of milk out of 10.
I give it a 5.
5 also. Wow, we're all in agreement. Yeah, I don't know.
I said 6, not 5. That's not an agreement.
So, Father, I have an important question to ask you, because season 1 of Star Trek: The Original Series, in your opinion, is the best first season of Star Trek.
Season of any Star Trek show. Yeah,
of any Star Trek show. pound for pound. So I think so far that season 1 for me is the second. It's got to be season 1 of Lower Decks, in my opinion.
I could definitely see that as a contender, but I'll just say that I think the highs of season 1
Are
of
yet to
the
come.
original series are yet to come. I mean, we still have City on the Edge of Forever. We still have Balance of Terror, which is up next, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Balance of Terror. It's true. It's true. See on the Edge of Forever is coming up. It's really good. Let's look ahead real quick because we have like a few minutes. I like to keep these at an hour. We'll keep it for a few minutes while I look it up. Father, why don't you tell everyone what we're doing in about an hour?
30 minutes.
And an hour and 30 minutes, or in 30 minutes? No, 30 minutes. Oh, that's why we got to end quick. All right,
Okay.
So in 30 minutes.
Okay, so let me pitch this real fast.
Let's go.
In about 33 minutes, wherever you are, about 33 minutes from now, that's going to be 4:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 9:30 British Standard Time, right? We are going to do a live stream on the Text Trek channel and discuss the big news from this week's New York Comic Con. There were 2 Star Trek panels, one on Star Trek Lower Decks. You know, that season just wrapped, and we're going to be talking about what we learned about the future of that show. We're also going to be talking about Star Trek Discovery. They had a huge Star Trek Discovery panel where they are hyping up season 3. This is going to be a insane departure. We've never seen the show change course in the franchise before, like Discovery's doing with season 3. So much to talk about with that. Are we scared? Are we excited? Are we nervous? Are we happy? All about that. And the big news about Kate Mulgrew coming back as Janeway in Star Trek Prodigy. We'll be discussing that as well in half an hour on the Text Trek channel.
So see you all there. All right, that's all we got for here. You got anything to promote, Robbie?
No, not really. I'll watch the Text Trek stream. That sounds good.
Oh, sweet. Yes.
Awesome.
Tell all your friends to come too.
Robbie, have you seen Lower Decks? Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because you know some people in outside of the country have had a hard time getting access to it. So,
by the way, Question of Trek, I do have something to promote, which is at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's very late in UK and Europe, and depending how much further you go west.
Germany is an extra hour for us on top of Britain. On top of Britain, add another hour.
I mean east. I meant east. The further east you go, the later it gets. But you should come check it out tonight on A Question of Trek, which Robbie is an alumni of, and also the only time I've ever won. I've also drawn, which is cool. That was with Lore Reloaded. But Robbie, thank you for being my first mate that shepherded my team to victory that one time.
And Starfleet Boy won't be late. He's not going to be late. I will kick him off of the Text Trek stream.
It's only a matter of time before you win again.
Yes, I know. The statistics are in my favor. May the odds be ever in my favor. We'll see what happens. But so I won't be late, Shishan girl, I promise. That was a one-time only offense, I hope. So anyways, thank you guys for joining me on this stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. On to Balance of Terror is the next one. So that's gonna be an exciting one.
Are we doing that next week or taking the week off?
Haven't gotten confirmation on that, but I have surprise content lined up. If we have to take a break, I have some pre-recorded surprise content lined up that will take its place. So don't worry, something will stream. Yeah, something will stream regardless at 3 p.m. on Saturday. But more than likely, we'll be gathered for Balance of Terror, and if we're not, we'll be gathered the following week. I'm really excited about that. So make sure you guys watch it. The only reason there might be a gap is because we are. The Doctor, it's one of his favorite episodes, and he couldn't make it to these last 2, but I think he and Emma will be back for Balance of Terror, so I'm very excited about that. All right, live long and prosper, guys, and we'll see you next time.